Kellyanne Conway serves as counselor to the president. She joins us now from Washington, only on CBS This Morning. Good morning, Kellyanne.
Good morning, Norah.
Should Deborah Ramirez, the new Kavanaugh accuser, be allowed to testify?
If she would like to, she can certainly contact the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. They have a process in place. Obviously, they've made tremendous, unprecedented accommodations for Ms. Ford to testify on Thursday. Judge Kavanaugh has been willing to testify publicly to what he has said privately under oath from day one. Less than 24 hours after he was made aware of the identity of Ms. Ford, of Dr. Ford, he said he would raise his right hand and testify, add to his 30-plus hours of testimony, answers to 1,300 written questions in the Senate confirmation hearing. And I thought that his comment last night about the second so-called accuser is incredibly instructive. He's now calling this a smear campaign. Indeed, this is starting to feel like a vast left-wing conspiracy. The New York Times says that they interviewed dozens of people over the last couple of weeks trying to verify this second accusation, and they couldn't go forward with the reporting, not because they are supportive of President Trump's Supreme Court nominees, but because they have some standards, and they could not come forward. And in fact, the New York Times also reports that Ms. Ramirez was asking people if they remembered and telling them that she couldn't be sure either. Norah, I know there's pent-up demand for women to get their day, women who have been sexually harassed and sexually assaulted. And I personally am very aggrieved for all of them. But are we going to put decades of pent-up demand for women to feel whole on one man's shoulders? What exactly is the standard for ruining one man's life based on decades of allegations that have nothing to do with him visiting upon other men, including in the media?
But that to me, then, Kellyanne, begs the question. You have two accusers who have come forward. Clearly, there are still a lot of questions. Shouldn't there be an investigation, a thorough investigation, and the confirmation process put on hold until these accusers have a chance to have their day in court? And you've heard Michael Avenatti now says that there's a third accuser who's coming forward this week. Should the confirmation process be put on hold?
It has been put on hold, Gayle. It's been put on hold for weeks now because Senator Feinstein sat on the first accuser's letter, and then someone in the Democratic committee, we suppose a staffer, breached the anonymity and divulged the identity of this woman who wanted to remain private.
Okay, now
Ms. Ford is only getting her day because of the Republicans.
Should it continue to be put on hold? We know it's been put on hold, but now you have two people and a third coming. Should it continue to be put on hold? Is a better question.
I'm sorry, Gayle, and let's make very clear the third woman is also from high school. I just wanted to say that this may be the first time we've ever heard of allegations against someone as a teenager who did not prey upon women thusly as he became powerful. As you know full well at CBS News, it's when men become powerful and think that they can use women and interrupt their careers if they want to for their own predatory proclivities that then they start preying upon women. The allegations against Judge Kavanaugh are all from when he was a teenager, and then we're supposed to believe he's a judge of a dozen years hiring female law clerks to boot, and he's alone with them plenty, and yet they support his nomination to the Supreme Court. This is all very relevant because everything that's being said does not comport with the Judge Kavanaugh that all these women who have dealt with him in pressure situations throughout his adult life and his career have said about him. The hearing is Thursday. If people who want to testify under oath should come and testify, there's a process in place. The Senate Judiciary Committee has been very accommodating, and all the Democrats, every single one who are calling for delay, obstruction, resistance, already said they wouldn't vote for Judge Kavanaugh.
Kellyanne,
this is politics.
I'd like to get your sense of something the president said. You spent your career learning about women voters and women consumers. The president, in response to this, Dr. Ford's allegation, said, "I have no doubt that if the attack on Dr. Ford was as bad as she says, charges would have been immediately filed." Based on your understanding of women, is it something that happens often that women have a sexual assault encounter and then don't report it?
Well, I've worked with women who have been sexually assaulted in my prior career, and I've worked with women who have been abused. And I can tell you that some women do not come forward because they fear not being believed. And I'll tell you, a lot of other women don't come forward, John, because of other women who make false accusations. So it cuts both ways. I know plenty of people who say, well, they wouldn't believe me because so-and-so, like the Duke lacrosse accuser who ruined those 4 boys' lives, thank God in their adult lives, they're thriving. And so there are many different reasons women don't come forward. But I think we should take everything the president said last week and be fair to the president. He has said from the beginning Dr. Ford should be heard. He has said from the beginning, through me and through his own voice that we should have a process in the Senate Judiciary Committee so that Dr. Ford can be heard and Judge Kavanaugh can be heard. And this Thursday, they will both do exactly that. He's been very respectful.
So, Kellyanne, do you believe that Deborah Ramirez is confused and made this up?
I have no idea. What I believe is what I read, Norah, which is that she has said she can't be sure. She has said there are gaps in her own knowledge, that she was inebriated that as well. But she can come and tell that story. I do think it's very circular, though, to have a New Yorker story come out with much thinner evidence than Ronan Farrow is used to having in his articles, and then the Democrats saying, oh my God, look at this, we have to investigate.
But you don't, Kellyanne,
there's a great deal of suspicion.
You don't believe that that the delay in Dr. Ford coming forward about this in any way challenges the veracity of her claims, that the delay, just the delay alone, does not raise any questions?
It does not to me.
Despite what the president said.
John, I take these allegations very seriously, as does the president. All week long,
Kellyanne,
he was saying, let them testify.
Kellyanne, you say he takes them very seriously. He says, I have no doubt that if the attack on Dr. Ford happened, she would have reported it immediately.
You're looking at one tweet. Why don't you put up everything he said last week, John? Be fair to him. This president is defending his nominee to the United States Supreme Court. That nominee needs to defend himself against these allegations. Why does it not matter to anyone that Judge Kavanaugh has said unequivocally and categorically these allegations are false? He thinks the latest ones show a pattern of a smear campaign against him. And he has said from the beginning that he wasn't at the party in question 36 years ago in Maryland. All of that has to matter. But this president wants them both to testify, and the Senate Judiciary Committee has set up a process where they both can. I just don't think one man's shoulders should bear decades of the Me Too movement.
And so thanks very much for being with us, Kellyanne.
Thank you.